The rain hammered the Brooklyn pavement like it was trying to wash away the last traces of him, but it only smeared the blood on my knuckles where I'd punched the wall in our tiny apartment. Jamie's phone buzzed once on the kitchen counter, a final unanswered plea from me, before the screen went black forever, or so I thought. That night, as sirens wailed in the distance and I screamed his name into the storm, I didn't know it was the beginning of a fracture that would echo through every friendship, every family dinner, every stolen glance at a stranger who reminded me of his crooked smile. I slumped against the doorframe, the cold metal biting into my back, replaying the argument in my head like a looped nightmare. It had started small, the way they always do, me accusing him of drifting, him snapping back about my jealousy over his late nights at the gallery. Jamie worked as a curator's assistant in Chelsea, surrounded by artists who flirted with danger and each other, and I'd let my insecurities fester until they poisoned the air between us. "You're suffocating me, Alex," he'd said, his voice cracking like thin ice. "I need space to breathe." Space. That's what he called it when he grabbed his jacket and stormed out into the downpour, leaving me with the echo of the slamming door and the taste of regret sharp on my tongue. By morning, the city had swallowed him whole. I called his sister, Lena, first, our unofficial mediator, the one who'd introduced us at that Pride block party 3 years ago in the village. She was in bed with her girlfriend, Mia, when my frantic voicemail hit, and she arrived at my door an hour later, her eyes red-rimmed but steady, Mia trailing behind with takeout coffee that neither of us touched. "He'll come back," Lena said, pulling me into a hug that smelled like vanilla and worry. "Jamie's always been a runner when things get heavy, but he loves you. Remember that trip to the Catskills? He planned every detail just to see that stupid waterfall you obsessed over." Mia nodded, her hand on Lena's shoulder, but I could see the doubt flickering in her gaze, the same doubt gnawing at my gut. We were all products of families that had barely blinked at our queerness, but the world outside wasn't so forgiving. Whispers at work, sidelong stares from neighbors. It added up, turned love into a battlefield. The police station was a blur of fluorescent lights and sympathetic officers who treated disappearances like lost keys. 24 hours, they said, jotting down Jamie's description. 5'10", lean build from years of yoga, auburn hair that curled at the ends, a tattoo of a compass rose on his left forearm, symbolizing direction he always joked he'd never find without me. I handed over his photo from our last anniversary, us grinning on the high line with the Hudson glittering behind. The detective, a burly guy named Ruiz with a mustache that screamed 70s cop show, promised to look into it, but his tone said routine runaway. "Lovers' quarrels happen," he muttered, and I wanted to lunge across the desk, explain that this wasn't some straight couple spat. This was us, two gay guys in a city that still pretended tolerance was progress, fighting not just each other but the invisible weight society piled on. Back home, the apartment felt like a crime scene. His sketchbooks lay open on the coffee table, half-finished portraits of me in charcoal smudges, capturing the laugh lines I hated and the dimples I loved. I flipped through them, tracing the lines with trembling fingers, wondering if he'd drawn them to remember or to forget. My best friend, Tyler, showed up that afternoon, barging in with a six-pack and a playlist of our old mixtape. Indie folk that Jamie used to mock, but secretly hummed along to. Tyler was the straight ally who'd crashed every queer event with us, the one who'd punched a homophobe at a bar in Queens last summer without a second thought. "Sit," he ordered, cracking a beer and shoving it into my hand. "You're not doing this alone. Tell me everything." So I did, spilling the ugliness. How Jamie's conservative parents in Ohio had cut him off when he came out at 17, leaving him to couch surf through college in Manhattan. How I'd grown up in a liberal bubble in Portland, only to move east and crash into the gritty underbelly of East Coast prejudice. Tyler listened, his jaw tight, then launched into stories to distract me. That time Jamie accidentally dyed his hair green trying to impress me for Halloween, or how we'd all piled into his beat-up Subaru for a road trip to Fire Island, laughing until dawn. But underneath the nostalgia, tension simmered. Tyler had always been protective, almost too much, and I'd caught him eyeing Jamie with a mix of envy and something sharper once or twice. Friendship in our circle was a tangled web, laced with unspoken attractions and loyalties tested by every sideways glance from the world. Days blurred into a week. Lena organized search parties, posters up in coffee shops from Williamsburg to the Lower East Side, social media blasts that garnered likes, but no leads. Mia, ever the pragmatist, started a group chat, Team Find Jamie, with daily check-ins that felt more like group therapy. Has anyone heard from his ex, that painter from Bushwick? She'd text, and I'd scroll through old messages, heart sinking at the silence. Rumors trickled in. A bartender at the Stonewall and swore he'd seen a guy matching Jamie's description nursing a whiskey alone last Tuesday. A neighbor claimed to have spotted him arguing with someone near the Williamsburg Bridge. Each lead fizzled, leaving me hollower. One night, as thunder rattled the windows again, I found the letter, tucked in the back of his sock drawer, folded once with my name in his looping script. Alex, it began, if you're reading this, I've gone too far this time. I love you, but I'm drowning in the what-ifs. What if we never make it? What if the world's too much? I need to find my own north before I lose us both. No signature, just a smudged ink blot like a tear. I clutched it to my chest, sobbing until my ribs ached, the words carving deeper than any blade. Was it a goodbye or a plea? In the quiet after, I realized the real fracture wasn't Jamie's absence. It was the mirror it forced me to face, reflecting back a love I'd taken for granted, friends I'd leaned on without giving back, and a city that promised reinvention but delivered isolation. The search stretched into the second week, and cracks began to show in our makeshift family. Lena and Mia argued in hushed tones outside my door one evening. I overheard Mia saying, "This is eating you alive, babe. What if he's not coming back?" And Lena's sharp retort, "Then we help Alex through it, like we promised." Their relationship, solid as oak, started to creak under the strain, reminding me how grief ripples out, testing bonds we assume unbreakable. Tyler threw himself into distractions, dragging me to underground queer poetry slams in the Bowery, where performers spat verses about lost loves and reclaimed identities. "Feel this," he'd say, clapping me on the back after a particularly raw set about a partner's ghost haunting the subways. But his enthusiasm felt forced, and one tipsy night, as we stumbled home past graffiti-covered walls, he confessed, "I always thought you two were endgame, man. Seeing you like this, it scares me for all of us." Work became my anchor, or at least a numb routine. I taught high school English in a public school in Harlem. Kids with eyes that saw too much too young. They noticed the shadows under mine immediately. "Mr. Rivera, you okay? You look like you lost your favorite book," quipped Darius, the class clown with a fade that defied gravity. I forced a smile, assigning essays on The Great Gatsby and its illusions of the American dream, but the irony burned. Here I was, lecturing on unattainable green lights while my own had vanished into the night. A colleague, Sarah, pulled me aside after faculty lounge gossip about that gay teacher and his drama. She was an out lesbian, married with twins, and her bluntness cut clean. "People talk, Alex. Watch your back. This school's progressive on paper, but parents complain if it gets too real." Prejudice wasn't always fists. Sometimes it was whispers in the staff room, eroding trust like acid rain. Nights were the worst. I'd lie in our bed, sheets still faintly scented with his citrus cologne, scrolling through old photos. Us at Coney Island, cotton candy stuck in his hair, kissing in Central Park during cherry blossom season, petals like confetti on our shoulders. Each image twisted the knife, stirring memories of the good amid the bad. The way he'd surprise me with rooftop picnics, stars above and the pulse of the city below, whispering dreams of adopting kids someday, building a life that defied the odds. But doubts crept in. Had I pushed too hard? Ignored the signs of his unraveling, the late-night pacing, the sketches growing darker with abstract thorns and fractured figures? A breakthrough came unexpectedly, via a tip from an old mutual friend, Ravi, a non-binary artist who'd shown with Jamie at the gallery. They met for coffee in Soho, and Ravi slid across a crumpled napkin with a scribbled address in the meatpacking district, an abandoned warehouse turned pop-up exhibit space. He was there last month, Ravi said, voice low over lattes, talking to some collector about a private showing. Looked haunted, but alive. Hope surged, bitter and electric. I went that night, alone, the warehouse looming like a forgotten relic under sodium lamps. Inside, Echoes of laughter from a closing event mingled with the scent of oil paint and stale wine. No Jamie, but a flyer caught my eye. Eclipse Series, Shadows of the Self, curated by an anonymous artist. The date was the night he left. My pulse thundered. Was this his cry into the void? I pocketed the flyer, racing home to show Tyler. He arrived with pizza, eyes lighting up at the lead. This is it, Alex. We'll crash the next one. But as we pored over details, his phone buzzed, a text from his on-again girlfriend, Elise, complaining about his absence. Tyler's face tightened. He'd been dodging her calls to be here for me. Go, I urged. I'm good. He hesitated, then pulled me into a bro hug that lingered a beat too long. Your family, he said simply. And in that moment, I saw the depth of our bond, forged in late-night confessions and shared heartbreaks, a friendship that blurred lines without crossing them. Lena called later, her voice thick. Mia's leaving for a week. Work trip to LA. Think space will help. The irony stung. Space, the word that started it all. We talked until dawn, her vulnerability peeling back layers. How Jamie's disappearance dredged up her own fears of abandonment, rooted in their parents' cold rejection. They called him a phase, she whispered. Like love like yours could be temporary. It fueled my resolve. The next day, I quit assigning Gatsby and switched to Giovanni's room, Baldwin's raw dissection of identity and exile. My students dove in, debates sparking about hiding parts of yourself in a country that preached freedom but practiced fear. Darius raised his hand. It's like being invisible even when you're right there. His words echoed my ache, turning classroom into confessional. The warehouse exhibit's next iteration was announced online, a midnight opening in 2 days. I rallied the crew, Tyler, Lena, even Sarah from school tagging along for moral support. As we gathered in my apartment prepping, the air hummed with tentative optimism, like the hush before a storm breaks. Little did I know, the real tempest was brewing not in the city lights, but in the truths we'd buried under loyalty and love. The warehouse pulsed with bass-heavy electronica, strobe lights slicing through the haze like erratic heartbeats, casting elongated shadows that danced across brick walls splattered with Jamie's signature style, bold strokes of indigo, and crimson bleeding into voids of black. We pushed through the crowd, a sea of hipsters and highbrows sipping neon cocktails, their conversations a murmur of art speak that grated against my nerves. Tyler led the charge, his broad shoulders parting the throng, while Lena clutched my arm, her free hand intertwined with Mia's despite the tension. Sarah scanned the room with a teacher's eye, spotting details I missed. A sculpture of twisted wire lovers, their forms locked in eternal push-pull. There, Tyler nodded toward a far corner, where a cluster of patrons encircled a canvas the size of a door. Jamie's work, unmistakable in its emotional gut punch. The piece depicted a figure dissolving into urban fog, compass rose tattoo stark against dissolving flesh, reaching for a hand that faded into pixels of city grid. My breath caught, knees buckling. This was his pain, rendered public, a scream in silence. He's here, I whispered, the certainty flooding me like adrenaline. We fanned out, searching. The exhibit was a labyrinth of installations, interactive projections of fractured mirrors reflecting viewer distortions, audio loops of whispered confessions overlapping into cacophony. One booth stopped me cold, a voice installation, Jamie's timbre distorted but recognizable, murmuring. What if the map lies? What if home is the illusion? It looped, pulling tears I hadn't earned yet. Lena found a program with credits, curated by Jay Hale. His middle initial. Hope warred with dread. Was this rebirth or burial? Hours ticked by, the crowd thinning as dawn crept in gray fingers through grimy windows. Tyler bought rounds to keep us grounded, his jokes falling flat. Remember when Jamie tried bartending? Watered down the cosmos, so bad we thought it was Virgin Mary's. Laughter bubbled, fragile, but Mia's silence spoke volumes. Her eyes darted to exits, as if calculating escape from this emotional minefield. Sarah pulled me aside near a kinetic sculpture of spinning gears. This isn't healthy, Alex. Chasing ghosts, it's romantic in books, but real life? It breaks you. Her concern was maternal, earned from years of navigating her own wife's family dramas, but it chafed. He's not a ghost, I snapped. He's mine. A shout from Tyler yanked us back. He'd spotted a figure slipping out a side door, auburn curls catching the light. We bolted, spilling into the alley where dumpsters loomed like sentinels, rain-slicked cobblestones gleaming under security lamps. The figure paused, silhouetted against chain link, then bolted. Jamie. My voice cracked the night, raw and desperate. He turned, not him. A stranger, artist badge dangling, eyes wide with confusion. Dude, wrong guy. The false alarm hit like a sucker punch, leaving us gasping in the drizzle. Tyler punched the fence, cursing. Lena sank to her haunches, Mia wrapping arms around her. Sarah lit a cigarette, the flame flickering defiance. We keep going, she said, exhaling smoke like resolve. Back inside, the cleanup crew milled about, but one lingered, a wiry gallery assistant with pierced brows, stacking chairs. I approached, flashing the flyer. The curator, Jay Hale. Is he around? She eyed me, pity softening her features. Nah, he bailed after setup. Said something about needing air. Left this, though. She handed over a USB drive. Matte black, no label. My hands shook as I pocketed it. Sanctuary. Home was a war zone of exhaustion. Tyler crashed on the couch, snoring through dawn. Lena and Mia took the guest room, their whispers a lullaby of reconciliation. Sarah hugged goodbye at the door. Call if you need backup. We're all in this mess together. Alone with the drive, I plugged it into my laptop, heart hammering. Files bloomed, audio diaries, dated from weeks before the storm. Jamie's voice filled the room, tentative at first. Alex doesn't see it, but I'm cracking. The gallery gig, it's not passion, it's pressure. Collectors pawing at me like I'm part of the exhibit. And home. God, I miss us, but the fights. They're eroding me. Entry after entry peeled and bare. Fears of inadequacy, echoes of parental rejection, Dad's voice in my head. Men don't love like that. Nights wandering the bridges, tempted by the dark pull of the river. One recording gutted me. I saw Tyler watching us last week. That look? Jealous? Or something more? Alex trusts him blind, but trust. It's fragile. My stomach twisted. Tyler? No, impossible. Our friendship was steel, unbent by shadows. Yet doubt seeded, a tiny fracture. Morning brought coffee and confessions. I played snippets for the group over brunch. Bagels and lox from the deli downstairs, a ritual we'd stolen from Jamie's routines. Tyler's face paled at his mention. What the hell? I never. Lena cut in, gentle. It's his insecurity talking, not truth. Mia nodded, thawing. We all project. Remember when I thought you were cheating because of that work retreat? Laughter eased the knot, but the USB lingered like a talisman. Days later, a lead cracked open. The gallery owner, a silver-haired dynamo named Victor, agreed to meet. His office overlooked the Hudson, walls lined with Jamie's early pieces, vibrant abstracts now shadowed by absence. He was brilliant, Victor said, steepling fingers. But haunted. Talked about a cabin upstate, family holdover from his mom. Said he'd go there to reset. Upstate. The Catskills, our waterfall haven. Coordinates burned in my brain. We piled into Tyler's Subaru that afternoon, the drive north a blur of autumn, leaves turning fiery under overcast skies. Lena DJ'd a playlist, Jamie approved indie, Bon Iver crooning Loss like an old friend. Mia sketched in her notebook, portraits of us emerging. Tyler's determined profile, Lena's fierce gaze. Tension simmered low. Tyler gripped the wheel too tight, glancing at me in the rear view. You think he's there? Has to be. I lied, staring out at blurring pines. The cabin squatted off a dirt road, weathered siding and sagging porch evoking forgotten summers. Smoke curled from the chimney, life. We approached on foot, hearts pounding in unison. The door creaked open before we knocked, and there he stood, Jamie, gaunt but whole, flannel shirt hanging loose, eyes hollowed by whatever storm he'd weathered alone. Alex, he breathed, and the world tilted. Reunion wasn't fireworks. It was a dam breaking, words tumbling in floods. Why? I demanded, fists clenched. A letter? That's all. He stepped aside, gesturing us in. Fire crackling, sketch pads everywhere, walls papered in new works of unraveling selves. I needed to face it without dragging you down, he said, voice gravel. The cabin smelled of pine and paint thinner, a hermitage of healing. Tyler hung back, arms crossed. Lena rushed forward, enveloping him in tears. Mia observed, quiet judge. Over stew simmered on the wood stove. Jamie's attempt at domesticity. We unpacked the months. His confession spilled. The pressure from Victor's advances, subtle at first, then insistent. The USB as catharsis, not clue. I thought distance would clarify, he admitted, eyes on me. But it just amplified the noise. Tyler shifted, clearing throat. That recording. I never meant. Jamie waved it off. Projection. You're the brother I never had. Relief washed Tyler's face, but I caught the flicker. Unspoken layers in our trio, friendships laced with what-ifs. Night fell soft, stars pricking the velvet sky. We bunked in shifts, stories weaving till exhaustion claimed us. But dawn brought the undercurrent. Jamie's gaze lingered on me, wary, as if testing waters. Did you stop waiting? He asked quietly, while others slept. I met his eyes, the compass tattoo peeking from his sleeve. Every day, but I never stopped loving. Return wasn't seamless. It was stitching wounds with thread that frayed at the edges. Back in Brooklyn, Jamie crashed at Lena's, neutral ground, Mia's suggestion to ease reintegration. Our apartment loomed empty, a museum of paused life, until I mustered courage to pack his things from storage. Unzipping duffels released ghosts. That worn hoodie from our first date at a queer film fest in Tribeca, ticket stubs from Moonlight, curled in a tin. Each artifact tugged, reminding me absence had reshaped me. Sharper edges, deeper doubts. Work through curveballs. My students, sensing shift, peppered questions. Mr. Rivera, you look less zombified. Good news. Darius again, grinned sly. I shared vaguely, found what I lost, sparking essays on redemption arcs and lit. Sarah cornered me post-class. He back? For real. Her skepticism stemmed from her own scars. A wife who'd left during chemo, only to return changed. People evolve, but patterns persist. I nodded, but inside, resolve hardened. Jamie and I met for coffee first, neutral turf at a cafe in Dumbo, ferries chugging past like indifferent witnesses. He looked better, color returning, curls tamed, but his laugh rang forced. Missed this, he said, stirring foam. The chaos. Rebuilding started tentative. Walks along the promenade, hands brushing accidental, then intentional. He opened about the cabin, solitude's balm, but loneliness bite. I wrote letters I never sent. He confessed, pulling a bundle from his bag, tied with twine. One for me. Pages of apologies, dreams deferred, love affirmed in looping script. Reading it later, alone, tears blurred ink. It was bridge, not burden. Friends circled warily. Tyler invited us to game night at his place. Elise there, her warmth thawing ice. Board games devolved into charades. Jamie mimicking my dramatic Gatsby recitals. Laughter genuine for the first time. But post-game, Tyler pulled me aside on his fire escape, city sprawl below. He's different. Softer? Or guarded? I shrugged, beer bottle sweating in my grip. Both. Like me. Tyler's eyes searched mine, old tension surfacing. Just protect your heart. Yeah? We've all got pieces invested. His protectiveness bordered possessive, a brother's vigilance laced with history. That summer he'd confessed a fleeting crush on Jamie, pre-us, dismissed as curiosity. Water under bridges, but echoes lingered. Lena and Mia's reconciliation inspired. They hosted a dinner, candlelit spread of Mia's Thai fusion, pad CEW with a queer twist, rainbow chart. Toasts clinked, to found families. Jamie raised glass, voice steady, and forgiveness. But under table, his knee pressed mine, anchor in storm. Conversation veered to prejudices, Lena venting about their parents' latest email, a veiled, concerned note probing Jamie's stability. They think queerness is a phase to outgrow, she spat. Mia squeezed her hand. Or a flaw to fix. The table fell quiet, then Tyler broke it. Screw him. We're the real legacy. Solidarity swelled, but Jamie's jaw tightened, old wounds festering. A misunderstanding ignited first spark. At the gallery's holiday showcase, Victor cornered Jamie, champagne flute in hand, compliments veering proprietary. My star returns. Missed your inspiration. Jamie stiffened, excusing himself. I witnessed from afar, fury boiling. Later, in alley behind, I confronted, "He touch you?" Jamie recoiled. "No, but the vibe. It's why I ran." My accusation slipped. "Why not tell me?" I could have, what? Fought my battles. Hurt flashed in his eyes. I needed to own it. We parted terse, silence stretching days. Tyler mediated, uninvited coffee ambush. "You're both idiots," he said bluntly, at our old diner. Jamie's scared of dependency. You're scared of losing control. His insight cut, drawn from his own Elise UPS and Downs. "Talk, or it'll fester." I swallowed pride, texted Jamie. "Rooftop?" Like old times. He arrived at dusk, skyline ablaze, blanket and thermos in tow. Words poured, my fears of inadequacy, his of engulfment. "Society drills it in. We're too much, or not enough," he said, stars emerging. "But us? We're exactly right." Kiss sealed it, soft, reaffirming. Winter deepened, holidays looming like minefields. Jamie's parents invited, neutral ground, Ohio farmhouse. "One dinner," he pleaded. "Show them we're solid." Dread knotted my gut. Their last visit, passive-aggressive barbs over turkey. Tyler opted out. Your rodeo. But Lena and Mia tagged, buffer brigade. Flight east was turbulence literal and figurative, Jamie's hand clammy in mine. Farmhouse glowed festive, but air crackled. His mom, Evelyn, hugged stiff. Dad, Harlan, grunted hellos, eyes appraising. Dinner unfolded scripted. Small talk on weather, crops. Then probes. "Gallery treating you well, son?" "Steady." Jamie's grip tightened under table. "Better than ever." Harlan's gaze slid to me. "And Alex, teaching still?" "Good benefits." Code for stability, subtext screaming provider. I smiled through gritted teeth. Kids keep me honest. Lena deflected with Mia's job stories, but Evelyn cornered me in kitchen later, dish towel twisting. "We just want him happy. You understand." Translation, "Don't ruin him." I nodded, venom rising. "More than you know." Climax brewed bedtime. Guest room whispers turning shouts. Harlan overheard Jamie's late-night call to Victor, quitting outright. "Can't work where it's toxic," he explained. Dad exploded downstairs. "Running again?" "From what? Real life." Accusations flew. Weakness, delusion, that lifestyle's curse. Jamie fired back. "Your rejection's the curse." I burst in, Lena trailing, Mia dialing for calm. "Enough," I roared. "Love him or lose him. Your call." Harlan deflated, Evelyn weeping. Dawn brought apologies, fragile. "We try," Harlan muttered. "Not absolution, but start." Back in New York, fractures healed slower. Jamie's sketches lightened, portraits of us intertwined, compasses pointing home. Tyler threw a welcome back bash, queer icons and allies packing his loft. Laughter drowned doubts, but a quiet moment on balcony. Jamie pulled me close. That night I left. I thought I'd broken us irreparably. "You did," I admitted. "But we rebuilt stronger." His question hung soft. "Did you ever stop waiting?" I traced his tattoo. Not for a second. Spring thawed more than ground. It unearthed buried tensions, like bulbs pushing through soil toward light. Jamie dove into freelance curating, pop-ups and lofts from Bushwick to Red Hook, his vision bolder. Exhibits on queer resilience, featuring non-binary creators and trans poets. I tagged along to openings, pride swelling at his command of the room, but whispers followed. "That's the guy who ghosted." Drama magnet. Gallery circles thrived on gossip, prejudices masked as critique. One night, a collector sidled up, slurring, "Heard you two had a spat. Make-up sex must be fireworks, eh?" Jamie's smile froze. I steered him away, but seed of resentment sprouted, public scrutiny turning private pain to spectacle. Our circle strained under reintegration. Tyler's engagement to Elise announced over brunch, rings glinting, joy infectious. But Jamie's toast faltered. "To loves that endure trials." Tyler caught the edge, later texting me. "He okay?" Felt pointed. Paranoia? Or truth? I'd noticed Jamie's glances at Tyler, appreciative, but laced with old recording shadow. Friendship's purity questioned. I confronted gently over beers at our dive. "The USB thing still bug you?" Jamie sighed, foam clinging to lip. It was fear talking. "But Tyler, he's always been your rock. Makes me wonder my place." Insecurity's vine, choking trust. You're my north, I assured, but words felt rehearsed. Lena's pregnancy reveal shifted dynamics. IVF miracle with Mia, dew fall. Joyous dinner at their place. Ultrasound pics passed like relics. Aunt Alex and Uncle Jamie. Mia teased, but Jamie paled. Kids? With my baggage. Later, alone, he confessed, parental legacy haunting. What if I'm like them, distant, conditional? I held him, rocking like a child. You're proof of nurture over nature. Look at us. Vulnerability bonded, but Mia pulled me aside next day. He's retreating again. Watch him. Her intuition, honed by Lena's volatility, rang true. School year wound down, my tenure review looming. Principal commended growth. More engaged, post-personal stuff. But parent complaints surfaced, too queer-focused curriculum. Baldwin's book, Now, sparked backlash. One dad ranting at PDA about indoctrination. Sarah rallied defense. It's literature, not propaganda. Hearing loomed, stress compounding home fronts. Jamie attended, support silent but fierce, hand on knee under table. Verdict, cautionary note, but retained. Victory small, but his pride. You fought, ignited spark. Misunderstanding escalated at pride. Massive march, floats thumping bass, rainbows everywhere. Our group marched mid-pack, signs reading love wins, but fight on. Tyler, Elise arm in arm, led chants. Lena, Mia beaming. Jamie and I lagged, hands linked, when ex-collector spotted us, drunk, belligerent. Ghost boy returns. Bet your man's thrilled, or tired of the drama. Jamie froze. I shoved forward, words venom. Back off, asshole. Scuffle brief, security intervening, but fallout lingered. Tyler witnessed, pulling me away. Not worth it. But Jamie spiraled. See? I taint everything. Argument erupted post-march, in after-party haze at rooftop bar. You think I'm fragile? He accused. No, I think you're worth defending. Voices rose, drawing stares. Lena intervened, Mia herding us out. Cool-off period stretched weak. Texts curt, silences heavy. Tyler bridged. Hike in Prospect Park, leaves unfurling green. You're both wired from trauma, he said, trail crunching underfoot. But love's not linear. His wisdom, earned from Elise's patience, pierced. And me? In the mix? I probed. Tyler halted, eyes earnest. Always your wingman. No more, no less. Clarity washed, suspicion dissolving. Reconciliation at Waterfall. Catskill's cabin revisit. Just us. Drive north healed rifts. Windows down. Playlists sinking heartbeats. Hiked to Cascade. Mist kissing skin. We stripped vulnerabilities bare. I ran because I feared losing you to my mess. He admitted, water roaring backdrop. But staying, that's the real courage. I pulled him close, spray beating lashes. We face it together. Night in cabin, firelit talks turned dreams, adoption paths, therapy commitments, boundaries with toxic ties. Intimacy rebuilt, emotional not carnal, shared breaths, mapped futures. Summer hummed promise. Join art class. Jamie sketches, my poems, fostered growth. Students' pride essays poured in, raw tales of coming out, family rifts mirroring ours. One, from Shy Theo, hiding hurts more than hate. Graded with tears, shared with Jamie over gelato in Little Italy. We're mentors now, he mused. Prejudices persisted, graffiti on gallery wall. Fags out, but we painted over, collective. Climax brewed subtly. Victor's final gambit. Anonymous email to Jamie. Old photos, coercive notes. Come back, or these go public. Blackmail's chill. Jamie showed me, trembling. Ends now. We forwarded to lawyer friend, Ravi's contact. Confrontation at Victor's penthouse. Us, him, security on speed dial. You're done, Jamie declared, voice steel. Victor sneered. Talent like yours? Wasted on paranoia. But evidence mounted. Cops called, arrest swift. Aftermath. Jamie's exhale, my arm around waist. Free. Tyler's wedding approached, rehearsal dinner intimate. Jamie best man's speech cracked ribs with humor, healed with heart. To Tyler and Elise. Proof love defies definitions. Toast landed, tears flowing. Reception danced till dawn, our sway sinking, partners, survivors. Fall brought Lena's baby shower, gender-neutral whimsy. Jamie's gift, custom mobile, stars and compasses. Holding Mr. B's blanket, he whispered, "Someday ours." Hope bloomed. Autumn leaves crunched underfoot as we navigated the labyrinth of family expansions and lingering shadows, the city shedding summer's heat for crisp resolve. Lena's due date neared, her belly a beacon at every gathering, Mia's nesting turning their apartment into a pastel fortress. Jamie threw himself into Uncle Prep, reading parenting books, sketching nursery murals of whimsical queer icons, a drag queen firefly, a trans superhero owl. For the kid to know worlds wide, he explained, brush in hand. I watched, chest tight with unspoken yearnings, our future sketches aligning stroke by stroke. But prejudices didn't wilt with seasons, they adapted, sly as ivy. At school, post-review glow faded under new admin. A suit from downtown, clipboard crusader. Curriculum audits hit. Diversity quotas met, but toned down personal anecdotes. My Giovanni's room, unit flagged, too introspective for standards. Sarah fumed in lounge, its erasure by bureaucracy. We rallied faculty allies, petitions circulating, but doubt crept. Was fighting futile in a system that tokenized progress? Jamie's freelance surged, collaborations with emerging trans artists yielding buzz. A joint exhibit in Chelsea, veils lifted, drew crowds, reviews praising raw authenticity. But success spotlighted scars. One critic sniped. Hale's return feels contrived. Ghost story more than genius. Jamie laughed it off publicly, but privately crumpled clipping, self-doubt flaring. Am I just the drama? Bedside vigil, I traced his jaw. You're the light in it. Therapy sessions, ours joint now, unpacked. His flight response, my fixer complex. Progress, not perfection. Our counselor's mantra, etched in us. Tyler's honeymoon glow infected all. He and Elise hosted post-wedding barbecue in backyard. Rented for the occasion, string lights twinkling. Stories flowed. Toasts to near misses, dances barefoot on grass. Jamie pulled Tyler for photo op, arms slung, easy camaraderie. But Elise confided later, wine loose. Ty's always said you're his moral compass. Kept him straight, figuratively. Laughter, but subtext hummed. Alliances shifting, our queer core anchoring his hetero harbor. Misunderstanding detonated unexpectedly. Anonymous post on gallery forum, dredging disappearance. Curator's vanishing act. Boyfriend cover-up or breakdown. Photos attached. Us arguing pre-storm. Twisted context. Virality hit. Notifications pinging like gunfire. Jamie's phone blew up. Mine followed. Colleagues texting concern laced curiosity. Lena called frantic. It's Victor, payback. Mia traced IP, bitter fruit of free time. Rage unified us. Group chat strategized. Statements drafted. Support rallied. Public fallout stung. Gallery pulled exhibit temporarily. Pending review. Jamie's name dragged. He spiraled. Locking in studio. Canvases slashed. I found him midnight. Charcoal smeared. Portrait of us defaced. Monsters everywhere, he muttered. Heart splintered. I knelt, hands on his. Not us. Not anymore. Dawn walked to precinct. Filing report. Harassment charges stacking. Victor's bail denied. Irony sweet. Climax crested at Lena's birth. Labor marathon. Us in waiting room circus. Text flew. Push. From Mia inside. Hours blurred. Then cry pierced. Girl. Alara. Tiny fists waving. Jamie held first. Tears tracing. Auntie Jamie's got you. Wheelchair to bedside. Lena beaming. She's fierce. Like her uncles. Exhaustion bonded. Prejudices paling against new life. Post-baby haze. Resolutions rippled. School admin backed down. Petition hit district. Media sniff. Exhibit reopened. Doubled attendance. Statement read. Our stories aren't scandals. They're strength. Jamie's speech. Voice steady. Disappearance taught visibility's power. Winter circled. Holidays reframed. Ohio visit voluntary. Harlan softer. Evelyn's letters thawing him. Dinner civil. Baby picks icebreakers. Proud of you, son. Harlan ventured. Not full, but foothold. Tyler's surprise. Godfather asked to Jamie. Full circle, he grinned. Acceptance sealed. Trio's evolution. Friends, not fractures. One snowy eve, rooftop perch, city blanketed white. Jamie turned, eyes aglow. That question, did you stop waiting? I smiled, snowflake on lash. Never. But now, we're here. Embrace warm, world hushed, love's quiet triumph. Yet surprises lingered. Spring unearthed final twist. Jamie's USB held bonus file, proposal audio, recorded cabin nights. Marry me, Alex? Not despite storms, but through them. Ring simple, silver band etched compass. Knee drop in park, cherry blossoms witness. Yes, breathless. Cheers erupted, circle complete, Tyler whooping loudest. Wedding small, rooftop vows under same stars. In fractures, we found whole, Jamie pledged. Rings exchanged, kisses sealed. Family, friends, Alara gurgling approval. Years folded, adoptions pursued, exhibits global, therapies lifelong. Prejudices persisted, but we armored, love's forge. The night he returned, question hung. Answer? Eternal wait, joyfully. Epilogue wove through seasons. Our life a tapestry of mended threads and bold new weaves. Alara's first steps toddled into summers at the cabin, her giggles echoing waterfall's roar, Jamie hoisting her high while I snapped photos. Legacy captured, not lost. School evolved. I led diversity workshops. Darius, now senior, mentoring freshmen, cycle unbroken. Sarah's twins joined playdates, her wife baking queer-inclusive cookies. Rainbow sprinkles mandatory. Jamie's career crested, solo show at MoMA, Recompass, chronicling Vanish to Vow. Opening night, crowd hushed before thunderous applause. Victor's shadow? Footnote in program. Tyler's firm pro bono queer rights. Elise's nonprofit aiding runaways. Alliances deepened, not divided. Lena and Mia's second, boy Caspian, balanced brood. Family reunions sprawled Fire Island beaches, bonfires crackling tales. Ohio ties strengthened. Harlan's visits tentative, then tender, Evelyn knitting booties. Growth slow, Jamie mused, but possible. Challenges came. Health scare, Jamie's anxiety spiking, panic mid-exhibit. Therapy doubled down, mindfulness apps are allies. My burnout wave crashed post-promotion. Sabbatical granted, we road-tripped Route 66, queer history pit stops, Stonewall echoes in desert vastness. Misunderstandings? Fleeting now, Tyler's bachelor tease at poker night. Still waiting on that sequel vanish? Jamie's retort. Only for coffee runs. Laughter healed remnants. Climax revisited in quiet. 10th anniversary. Highline stroll, same bench. That night, Jamie whispered, shattered us to rebuild. I nodded, hand in his. Worth every shard. Legacy bloomed. Alara's school project on family maps. Compass Central. You and Daddy, she beamed, crayons wild. Pride swelled. World's biases? We navigated, north true. The question, eternal, did I stop waiting? No. Wait evolved to walk, side by side, into sunlit tomorrows.